everyone. Lisa Haven here. Well, Joe Biden's worst nightmare is now coming to pass as his poll numbers have dropped to a very, very low 36%, according to the latest GOP poll numbers. And that's because of the way he is handling our economy, the COVID-19 pandemic, and so many unfortunate things that are now happening. Our entire system is literally falling apart because we've got an idiot in charge of our country. But thank God America is starting to see. And not only that, but the IMF has just issued a very eerie warning. And the warning is literally going to drop your jaw to the floor because this is coming from an agency that, shall I say, very rarely says anything negative out of fear of causing some kind of emboldened crisis, right? But before I get into the report, just a quick break. Right now, stocks are at an all-time high. The economy is roaring and houses are selling within a week. Interest rates are at zero and the government just printed $5 trillion. What could possibly go wrong? Meanwhile, consumer confidence hits an all-time 10-year low and inflation hits 6.8%, with parts of the U.S. still seeing rates as high as 8%. Something really isn't adding up now, is it? So what can you do? Well, you should play it safe. And you can do that by putting some of your assets behind gold, silver, precious metals, those kinds of things. And that will keep your money from those volatile markets and from inflation and really allows you to sleep at night. So how do you do that? You go directly to noblegoldinvestments.com and check out what they have to offer. And right now, as an extra added bonus, they are literally giving away, with any qualified plan, this amazing America the Beautiful 5-ounce silver coin. You can see it here on the screen. They're unique and different, each kind of their own there, but this is the coin that you get. And right now, I would encourage you to give them a call and talk to them because they are no hassle, no pressure. It's not a call center. They answer the questions that you have, and give them a call at 1-877-646-5347. If you want to check out their website, that's at noblegoldinvestments.com. They've got so much information there as well. And not only that, but they also have a YouTube channel. If you want to learn a little bit about the company, about what it means to invest, then you can go to their Noble Gold Investments YouTube channel. They've got lots of great information on there. But with that said, give them a call, 1-877-646-5347, or go to noblegoldinvestments.com. More can also be found in the description box below. All right, back to the broadcast. All right, so let's start first with this GOP poll number. Take a look at this article on Breitbart News. GOP poll, Joe Biden at a whopping 36% approval rating. I think that's one of the worst in presidential histories. But moving on from that, let's get into the crisis called our U.S. economy, caused by the Democratic Party and their leader, Joe Biden, their, reported leader. We all know he's not really calling the shots. But Breitbart News, disaster. The U.S. economy added just 210,000 jobs in November. This is a good 310 plus less than what they expected. But here it says the U.S. economy added 210,000 jobs in November, and the unemployment rate sank to 4.2%. This was far weaker jobs report than expected. Economists actually had forecasted 545,000 positions to be added to the payroll, an unemployment rate of 4.5, according to Econo-Day. They obviously missed that by a massive amount. Over 300,000 predicted jobs just MIA, right? Then we also have, surprisingly, employment in retail trade declined by 20,000 in November. General merchandise stores shed 20,000 jobs. Clothing stores shrank employment by 18,000. Sporting goods, hobby, book, music stores all declined by 9,000. And that raises the question about the strength of retail going into the holiday season there. And I want to say this, prior to Omicron, and leading into the biggest holiday season of the year, we have this job report coming out from the Biden administration, and they're over 310,000 some odd jobs shy of where they needed to be. This spells disaster for the holiday season. And on top of all of that, we also have basically no end in sight to this labor shortage. Take a look at this Daily Mail article, and it says here, no end in sight to labor shortage. More than half of Americans who lost their jobs during the pandemic say they have no plan to return, with many saying they'll take another 6 months off. Now, if you read further in that article, there's some also saying that they're going to take off anywhere up to a year. A year. This could cause some pretty serious repercussions on our already hurting economy. Not only that, but the IMF is actually now starting to speak up and issuing warnings. And as I said before, this is a company who doesn't rarely say anything negative out of fear of causing risks in the economic system, so to speak, or emboldening a crisis. But now they're actually admitting it at some level. So here is the IMF warning I told you about. This is on AFP or Yahoo News as well. IMF warns of economic collapse. Wow. Unless there's always a ... G20 extends their debt relief. The article goes on to say this. The IMF on Thursday urged advanced economies in the G20 to extend and improve their debt relief initiative, warning that many countries face a dire crisis without the help. We may see economic collapse in some countries unless G20 creditors agree to accelerate debt restructuring and suspend debt service while the restructurings are being negotiated, said the IMF chief, Georgieva, said in a blog, adding that it is critical private creditors who also offer relief. It goes on in the article to say Georgieva did not specify which economies faced a crisis specifically, but did refer simply to low-income countries. So she's saying that she's focusing more on these low-income countries, but it expands a little more. And she says, with inflation surging in major economies, central banks are pulling back on stimulus and expected to begin rising interest rates next year, which would increase debt service costs for poor nations and likely would see capital flee those countries. No doubt, 2022 will be much more challenging with the tightening of international financial conditions on the horizon. So this is a very eerie warning, if you will, from the IMF, warning that there could be some kind of economic collapse if ... fill in the blank. However, again, when it's coming from the IRF, it can carry a little merit, at least for sure. But we take that in light of everything else that is happening. And some of the other things, well, we have the obvious supply chain crisis. We also have a global food crisis with prices skyrocketing here. Zero hedge. Global food prices rise again, hitting new decade highs. And let's go to the actual world food situation. This is kind of FAO.org, and it gives you an overall assessment of the world on a global scale. And this is part of the Food and Agricultural Organization of the UN. But here it says, the FAO Food Price Index averaged 134.4 points in November 2021, which is up 1.6 points or 1.2% from October, and 28.8 points or 27.3%. That's a pretty high upping of our food prices from November 2022. The latest increase marked the fourth consecutive monthly rise in the value of FFPI, putting the index at its highest level since June 2021. You can see cereal prices are up here. You can see dairy prices are up here. You can see sugar prices are up here, just on a general scale. We have a lot of things going on with our food products, and hopefully you yourself and your family are prepared for this particular thing. That's not all. We also have this going on, which I thought needed attention, but this is on CNBC. CEOs and insiders are selling a record, that's pretty high, $69 billion of their stock, and their year isn't even over yet. Then we have U.S. manufacturing slumping to weakest since 2020 as cost inflation hits record high. That's on a zero hedge. Then we have CNBC, Cyber Monday. Online sales were actually dropped by 1.4% from last year to 10.7 billion, falling for the first time ever, which just shows how bad America is hurting. And then we have CNBC, Black Friday shopping also in stores drops 28% from pre-pandemic levels as shoppers spread spending throughout the season. And then we have the big one here, a Gallup poll showing that inflation is causing hardship for 45% of U.S. households. Thank you, the Biden administration. Why is this happening? Because of all the policies of the Biden administration. First, they paid people to stay home. Then they opened the border, allowed anyone and everyone in without any rhyme or reason, spreading COVID around, if you will. And not only that, Then they also, on top of that, issued their federal vaccine mandates and all their mandates, getting people fired from their job on already a hurting society. We have our shipping crisis due to the lockdowns and delays that he originally implemented. And of course, the vaccine mandates, like I said before, are just the icing on the cake, and things are exploding. Thankfully, the courts have stopped it as of now, praying that continues in the right direction. So, needless to say, the economy is literally exploding in the Democrats' face, and I believe there's going to be some severe repercussions this election season for the Democrats in 2022 and 2024, and they know it. But I honestly believe they're going to continue on this path on purpose until the United States of America is just completely and utterly in shambles, and we're already partly there. They have an agenda, they have a plan, they want to restructure the United States of America into something entirely different, which would be known as a communist system. We absolutely do not want that. We need to get the right people in. Anyhow, I love all of you. Thanks again for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.